What is up, everybody? Welcome back once again to Hot Toys Hotline. As always, if you're new here, please consider subscribing to the channel. We currently have a end of the year goal of 500 subscribers, and we are currently sitting at around 490, so that 500 subscriber goal is right around the corner. I cannot thank you guys enough for the amazing support this year. Going into 2023, having 500 subscribers almost is a huge feat for me, and I'm very humble and very privileged to have you guys here with me. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so, and also drop a like on this video. It lets me know that you guys like the content that I put out here on the channel. Guys, I have a fun and special one for you today. Today I am unboxing and reviewing the Hot Toys Captain Vaughn. Also, I will be doing a comparison between the Captain Vaughn, the 501st Deluxe, and the Hot Toys Captain Rex. So stay tuned, guys. Let's jump down to the light box and take a closer look at the figure and all of the accessories that it includes. Alright everybody, before we get started on the figure and all the accessories, I wanted to show you how this figure ships to you. I wanted to show you what it looks like when it's in the box fresh. Keep in mind, I did take the plastic off of the figure. Typically each limb will have some plastic to protect it, and there also is some foam in between the joints and such, so just keep that in mind. I did take that off for the purposes of this video so we can get a better look at it. Of course, we saw the packaging in this beautiful yellow and blue Captain Vaughn cigar wrapper in the initial shots of the video. And next, we are greeted with this beautiful little kind of art print insert here. I always love to see these, and this one is absolutely awesome. You can see some amazing detail there. Really, really nice. And then, of course, we are greeted with our figure. Let me take this out really quick so I can again give you a shot of what it looks like when you first open up the packaging, as I always like to do. Let me clear some of this plastic out of the way. Sorry for that, I just threw that to the side. And again, guys, you can see this is what you are greeted with, minus all those plastic pieces that I did take off when you first open up your Captain Vaughn Hot Toys figure. But I just wanted to show you that because I know some people, including myself, will watch older videos later on and kind of see how everything was laid out in the box, especially if you purchase something from the secondary market. So I want to continue to do this for those of you that use these videos later on. I know that is helpful because, again, I use it myself. But okay, guys, let's take the figure and all of the accessories out of the box, and we'll take a closer look at all of the details. Well, believe it or not, guys, these are all of the accessories that are included with the Hot Toys Captain Vaughn figure. However, do keep in mind that this figure is only $250 in the US when purchasing from Sideshow before taxes and shipping. So this is about what we can expect for a figure with that price tag. But with that being said, let's jump right into the hands. Our first hand here is a right kind of open, relaxed hand. This hand is obviously what you are intended to use the hologram with. You have this holo projector here that probably fits perfectly right in that hand, so that's what that hand is for. Next, we have a right trigger hand. Of course, I love to see more and more trigger hands being included. I think that is essential for a clone trooper, so really nice to see that we have that. Of course, we have a left trigger hand as well, as I'm saying that. Guys, if we can get a close-up here of the detail, I love this kind of scratched weathering that we see here on the armor plating on the hand. I think this looks absolutely fantastic, and of course that does translate to the rest of the hands. Next, I really do love these hands, especially because we have a captain. This would be ideal for a captain commanding his troops, having a pointing finger, say, hey, shoot here, hey, go here, move here, you know what I mean? This is perfect for Captain Vaughn, in my opinion. And finally, for our hands, we do have a thumbs up here. Again, perfect gesturing hand for a captain, in my opinion. You have to have some sort of hand showing authority or directing the troops or giving the troops praise, so this makes a lot of sense. Now guys, with that being said, we do have two other kind of open, relaxed hands that you'll see later in the video that are pre-installed on the figure. However, I would like to see more. As always, they aren't including enough hands in my opinion. Nevertheless, we also do have two replacement hand pegs. Obviously, you have to be very careful with these. I haven't broken many of these in my day, to be honest with you, but it's nice that they include these. And of course, if you break some for another figure, you kind of have a pile of extras if you buy a lot of Hot Toys. So that's cool that they always include those. It's always good to have extras. Next, guys, this is the antenna that plugs into the helmet. When you first get this figure in the box, as we saw in the initial opening of the video, this is separate in its own tray. So this is the antenna that goes on the helmet. And then finally, we also have the antenna that goes on the shoulder armor piece, which I will click in before we look at the figure itself. But just wanted to show you guys how they come in the box. They are not pre-installed. And I do like that Hot Toys did that because these are very brittle. And I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but a lot of people broke these on the Commander Cody. So it's nice that these are separate in the box so you can kind of put them on yourself and be very careful with these. Next, guys, we have our DC-15A here. This is an absolutely beautiful blaster. I love this kind of silver dry brushing along the edges. It really sells the look of it being really worn, real metal. And I really like the look. I think it looks fantastic. Even have a little painted in like brass detail here. I think it looks incredible. Of course, this piece does articulate. It does hold pretty well. I'm sure you guys know sometimes these are hit or miss. This could just be my copy, but I've had them in the past with other clone figures, and this part just kind of droops here. So you rarely ever see people having the stock extended on this bad boy, but just to let you know, on mine, it does hold pretty well in its up position. And then next we have our DC-15 long rifle. You can see this one I can hold with two hands because it is quite a long rifle. Now we have the same kind of detail here with that kind of brushed silver on the edges to sell that real metal look. And I think it looks absolutely incredible. I don't think Hot Toys ever does a bad job with firearms, in my opinion. For the most part, they don't ever miss on firearms, and there is no exception here. I think these look absolutely incredible, and I'm glad they went in with that silver dry brushing just to kind of sell the realism. You can even see there's a kind of a worn look on the handle, as there would be as this firearm is going through battle. This is a very cool blaster, a very iconic clone blaster indeed, so glad to see this has continued to be included with other clones. Next, guys, we do have this jetpack piece here. It looks absolutely incredible. This is very similar to the one that came with Commander Cody. You can see you have your jetpack thruster there. Some really beautiful, nice weathering detail. You can see kind of close up there. It looks very convincing in my opinion. And then we flip it around to the back. You can see this has that same padding that we typically see with these magnetic pieces. I'm sure this will magnetize very nicely, and of course I will throw that on before we get to the figure segment of this video. Very nice indeed. Next, guys, of course we have our display stand. Now, as usual with these clones, this is a very basic kind of plain display stand. I would have loved to have seen, I don't know what that is, it's kind of like some grease on there, maybe it's for my fingers. I would love to see some sort of like 501st display, or maybe add some snow or something on here, some sort of detail that kind of sets it apart from the rest of these display stands. But unfortunately, they keep giving us the basic thing. Of course, we have our standard grabber here, nothing special. And then we do have a metal nameplate with the Star Wars branding and the Captain Vaughn name towards the bottom. That does look very clean. Of course, I always say I would love if Marvel would do more of these metal nameplates. I just think it looks very classy and professional. However, I'm glad that Star Wars continues to do it. And finally, guys, in terms of the accessories, we have two holograms. Of course, here we have Ahsoka Tano. Looks pretty good in my opinion. I think the proportions are really good. And I think you could absolutely tell that that is Ahsoka there. You can see her face in there a little bit. And then next, we have Captain Rex, looking absolutely incredible as always. Give him a spin here so you can see everything. And they even have a little bit of detail on his back here. I think that looks awesome. Now, guys, we do have this hollow projector here. And what you actually do is you peg this in. I'll see if I can do it on camera. So it's relatively easy. You just peg it in. And then I showed you that hand earlier. This just kind of sits in their hand. And it looks like they are communicating with Captain Rex and or Ahsoka Tano. And of course, if you have some extra holograms that you aren't using with their designated set, a lot of them will fit in this hollow projector, which is really cool, and you can kind of make your own scene as opposed to being locked to these two. Hey guys, let me grab the figure and we're going to take a closer look at the details and the articulation. Okay guys, really quick before we get into the figure as a whole, I do want to torture myself here on camera for a little bit and show you guys how these external pieces all attach, just in case you are having trouble. Of course, you have a peg here that corresponds with the shape in the helmet, and you just kind of click that in. You can hear an audible click there, and that is in and it is sturdy. Next, we have our shoulder antenna. If you're curious of how it's supposed to be angled, you want the antenna facing the back of the body. There are teeth on the bottom of this antenna here that key into this little slot on the shoulder armor. So what you want to do is take those teeth, and I'll try to do this on camera. It's a bit difficult to do. But you just kind of want to line it up and press it in. And there you go. Now I'm going to have to align that a bit off camera, but you can see that's basically how it clicks in. Now finally, the other piece that we want to attach. Very, very simple. You have your jetpack piece here. This just magnetizes to the back very easily, and of course you want to kind of align it straight on. But there you go. That's how you attach those three pieces. I hope that's helpful to you all if you are struggling or if you are new to Hot Toys figures. But all right, let's back the camera up and we'll get a closer look at all the details on the figure as well as the articulation. All right, guys, now here we are with our Captain Vaughn figure with all the pieces put on. I did adjust the shoulder antenna a little bit, so I do have it all the way in now. Sorry, I wanted to do that fully off camera because it is a bit difficult, but I'm glad you guys are hearing that and seeing that because you know what your experience will be like, so don't be too discouraged if you have difficulty with that because it is a bit difficult. But you can see here, guys, this is an absolutely beautiful paint job. They did fix the issues with the paint on the helmet, and it does look way more accurate now with the final product, I am happy to say. I know a lot of us saw those initial product photos and we were a little worried about the paint job on the helmet because it was a bit inaccurate, but they have fixed it and it looks absolutely wonderful. I love that deep red color mixed with the orange and white. I think it has a really, really nice contrast. This 3/32 helmet looks great on Captain Vaughn. It's absolutely beautiful. If you guys aren't aware, this is basically the same helmet as Commander Cody, just with a different paint job. And it looks absolutely amazing in these 3/32 colors. I think it looks incredible. And again, I think they did a great job. Moving to the back, you can see we have some beautiful weathering detail that goes all the way around. Even towards the back, we do have some weathering on the underside of the helmet all the way around. And I love when they do this. Obviously, you won't be looking at the back of the helmet very often, if at all, but it's nice that they paid attention to detail and kind of gave us the same thing all around to make it more believable, because obviously the clones get down and dirty very frequently, so it would make a lot of sense that we have a lot of weathering all around the helmet from them dropping the helmet in the dirt, in the mud, and getting scratched up and dodging blaster fire and such. This looks absolutely amazing. Moving down to the chest, you can see we have our ranking here on the chest plate that looks absolutely amazing. It's so interesting whenever you see stuff like this because the paint on those squares is very small and very tiny and is very finely detailed. But as always, Hot Toys nails it with the paint work. It looks absolutely incredible. You could see the weathering. There is no shortage of it on the chest plate and on the shoulder plates. I love this kind of edge damage all along the shoulder plates. It looks absolutely incredible. We even have kind of a scratch pattern across the side, and that edge wear goes all along the edge of the shoulder plate. Again, nice attention to detail that are not just stopping on the front. I hate to see that when figures do weathering like that, so Hot Toys, kudos to you to continue to do a great job with the weathering. Of course, as always, we have some wear on the 501st Battalion branding on the front of their armor. It's all scratched up and worn away, and I think that looks very, very realistic. Amazing attention to detail all around on the body. And again, there is no shortage of weathering on this figure. You can even see here on the bicep armor, some nice weathering all the way around. On the back of the elbow armor, we have some nice scrapes as if they were leaning on something, which makes a lot of sense, obviously. Real quickly, I'll pull off this jetpack piece so you can see the detail on the back. We have some nice weathering on the underside of this portion here and all along kind of the seam lines here. It looks absolutely incredible. Really, really well done from Hot Toys. Along the back here, if the trooper were to sit down or something, we have some weathering here, which is very realistic in my opinion. I'm going to stick this back on here. Even on the belt portion, I'll kind of get the arms out of the way so we can go around on the belt. Absolutely incredible attention to detail in terms of the weathering and the grime. And when they put this kind of black wash in the cracks and crevices, it just brings out the detail even more. Even in this kind of abdomen armor piece here, you can see there's some weathering there. And it's very subtle, but it's nice that they included it because, again, we have weather all the way around, which makes it that much more convincing. Down to the front of the cod piece area, you can see we have some weathering around here as well. No shortage of weathering on this figure. Again, towards the thigh area, we have some damage here on the 501st branding on their armor, and that makes a lot of sense when you're going in and out of battles constantly like the 501st Battalion is. It just looks absolutely incredible, guys. I'm so pleased with the look of the armor on this figure. And down to the feet, guys, these have no shortage of weathering either. Of course, on the shoes, I would always like to see more because I feel like they could always do more with the weathering on the feet because obviously that's going to be the most dirty part on their body for the most part because they are walking in rough terrain and dirt and mud and wherever these soldiers are being sent. So that would be cool to see even more weathering, but I think it looks absolutely great. And then, of course, you want to take a look at our tread. We have the dreaded Lucasfilm and Hot Toys branding that ruins the look of the bottom of the feet, but obviously you don't see it very often. This is really cool. I love the tread on this guy. All right, now let's get into the articulation on the figure. In terms of the head, we can kind of go all the way forward if we want to. Really can't ask for much more than that. We can go all the way back. I don't know why you would have him looking that high, but maybe if you have him in some sort of flying pose, you can kind of implement that. That would be really cool. In terms of swivel, we have left, right as well, very easily. You can kind of turn it a full 360 here because it clears towards the bottom, so that's awesome. Really no complaints there. In terms of the shoulders, easily get a full 90. Now I will say, this is not ratcheted here in the shoulder, but it feels pretty tight. I like how it's effortless to pose it, but I feel like it's going to hold a pose pretty well, and you saw we did get full 90 there. In terms of the elbow joints, we can get a full 90. Of course, you have to situate the armor here. I'm not going to push my personal copy, but of course, do with yours what you would like. On the other side, the same thing as well. Of course, with these, you have to situate the armor once again to make it bend as much as you would like it to, but I'm confident you can get some really good poses out of this guy there. In terms of ab crunch, you actually do get a little bit of ab crunch, nothing crazy, of course. You can't really push it too much because of the way the armor is kind of laid on top of itself, but I am glad to see there is a bit. Some clone troopers have been more restrictive than this one, so that's cool. Let's see how much we can get a bend at the hip. Oh, that is ratcheted, so that's really nice. And you could hear that sound. We always love that sound of those ratcheted joints. Let's do it again. Very nice ratcheted joints in my opinion. I have no complaints there. I don't ever plan on going that crazy with the poses on my clone, but it's nice that you can. The knee joints, I imagine, are ratcheted as well. And they are. Not a loud, clicky ratchet, but they are very nice ratchets indeed. I will say this is a really nice body on this figure. I kind of have zero complaints about that. Let's see the articulation on the feet. The same as usual. Very easy to go up and down because of this slanted cut here at the bottom of the calf armor. You can kind of rotate it any which way you would like. Very little restriction here, which I like to see. And of course, finally, the hands. You do have limited posability unless you pull this armor out of the way because it's kind of covering the range of motion here. But if you do move that armor out of the way, of course, the peg will allow you to bend it very easily. So keep that in mind. Of course, guys, I mentioned earlier, we do have 2 pre-installed hands on the figure, and these are the ones that are included on the figure. And really nice detail on these as well, just like the other hands. Now, guys, we're going to move on to the comparison segment of this video. Big shout out to my friend Zombie in the Star Wars Memorabilia and Lore Discord. He gave me the idea to compare Captain Vaughn to both the 501st Trooper and the Captain Rex, which I have in my collection, because a lot of people are thinking that this blue is different compared to the blue on those 2 figures. So we're going to see that firsthand here, and you guys can tell me what you think after seeing that. I will be right back after I grab those 2 figures. Alright guys, so I hope you can get an idea of what the color differences are like between these 3. Of course, on our left we have the Captain Rex figure, in the middle we have the 501st Deluxe, and on the right we have Captain Vaughn, which we just unboxed. Now if you look at the Captain Vaughn and the 501st Deluxe, I feel like the blue and the white are very similar. Similar enough that I think they look absolutely great together. I know some people were saying that they thought the blues were different between the 501st and the Captain Vaughn. I do see a slight difference, but I don't think it's different enough to where there be any issues displaying them next to each other. For continuity purposes, I think it looks absolutely awesome. Of course, with the Captain Rex, we have that little green hue on the armor. Some are worse than others. I have 2 copies of Captain Rex. This one is my more green copy, as you should say. And you could definitely tell a difference between the Rex and the other 2. He definitely has a darker look to the white on the armor. However, I still think they look amazing together. I have zero complaints about the look of any of these figures. Give me 1 second. I'm going to adjust the camera a little bit, and we're going to pull these figures a bit closer so we can really compare those details. Alright guys, so here we have a close-up of the Captain Vaughn and the 501st Deluxe, just so you all can get an idea of what the blue looks like in comparison. Again, it's very similar. I don't think it's exactly the same. When I'm looking at the Captain Vaughn on the right, I do see a slightly lighter blue. You can see the 501st looks a bit darker, especially if you look at that chest design. You could see it looks slightly darker on the 501st, but again, it is only off by a little bit in my opinion. And even when you look at the weathering looks very similar. So again, there's some nice continuity in this line in terms of the details between the 501st figures, and it's really nice to see that. We even have very similar weathering, of course in different places, but a similar style of weathering on both of these figures. I think it looks great. I really have no issues with that, guys. And we could even kind of compare down towards the knee area again. You could see it's a slightly different shade of blue, but very, very similar. It's almost one is just darker, that's it. And when you have them next to each other, there's really no issue recognizing that they're both part of the same battalion. I just wanted to clear that up. I know there was a lot of questions, and again, I thank Zombie in the Discord for bringing that up. But of course, we're also going to compare it to Captain Rex, so give me 1 second. I will grab Captain Rex. All right, now we have Captain Rex, and you can see, even on Captain Rex's pauldron, we do have a similar blue. So again, I really have no issue with the blue and the continuity in this line in terms of the colors. But of course, the big difference here is we have that kind of green hue on Captain Rex's armor that we don't see on the 501st figure and or the Captain Vaughn figure. So definitely keep that in mind. But every time I look at this Captain Rex figure, I just realize how much I love it. And there's a reason that I bought two, obviously, because I really love this figure. So I just wanted to show you guys that. Again, we'll move down to the knee area as well, and you could see there's just a lot of that green hue here on the Captain Rex. And I don't think that looks bad. It's just a different take on the armor here with the Captain Rex. Maybe he was in a different environment and his armor is dirty differently in that way. Who knows? But I do think they look absolutely incredible next to each other, and I don't think I will have any issues having them all together and having them look absolutely incredible together. One final thing, let me sit Rex to the side real quick. I did want to grab the 332nd helmet that came with Rex so we can compare the orange, and it looks identical. So I'm really, really glad to see that, guys. I think it looks absolutely amazing. And again, I don't think there will be any issues having these next to each other in the display and having them look absolutely incredible together. But all right, let me throw all of these guys in a pose and we will close out the video. Welcome back, everybody. Let's get into my final thoughts on the Hot Toys Captain Vaughn. So I got to be honest with you guys, this figure is really awesome. I really do enjoy this figure. For $250, it's about what I expected. No more, no less, just what I expected. And I can't be upset with that, you know. For $250, I think you got a fair amount of accessories. Of course, as I always say, with the hands, I would like to see more hands. They never give us enough hands, and this figure is no exception. Typically, especially the troopers, I would like to see more because you have all these different blasters and all these different accessories from all these different troopers. I would love to see more hands, so I'm going to keep preaching that until Hot Toys hears me, even though they may never hear me. I would love to see more hands. Give us more options for posing and give us more hands with these figures. But guys, in terms of the paintwork, I think it looks absolutely incredible. I think they did a great job. The weathering is second to none when it comes to troopers. I have zero complaints about that. I am very pleased. In terms of the body and the articulation, you guys saw it in the video. I think it's right up there with the Coruscant Guard, and I know a lot of you guys, including myself, really love that Coruscant Guard body, and I think it's right up there on par with that body. It's absolutely excellent. I love the ratcheted joints. I love that there's plenty of posability, even though this figure has armor. It's really not hindered that much at all. Really, really nicely done. I didn't mention in the video, but it does have the same cloth undersuit as we have with the previous clone, so that's good to see. No pleather on this figure whatsoever, so that's always a plus. Of course, as I mentioned also, the weathering on the blasters looks absolutely amazing. I think it's on par with the work that Hot Toys has been putting out that we expect from them. Overall, I think this is a great release. My biggest gripe, honestly, is how plain the display base is. I really would have liked to see some sort of 501st Battalion custom base done by Hot Toys for these 501st figures. Unfortunately, we didn't get that. We keep kind of getting that same very basic gray display base. I don't think it looks bad, and it's nice that we have a similar base for all of them so they all look good together. However, I wish we would have seen something a bit better in terms of the design choice for that, but that's okay. I can live with that. I'm not going to harp on that too much. I just wanted to share my few minor gripes on this figure because I don't want to say it's 100% perfect. However, I do think for the price point, I am very pleased. This is going to go really well with your existing 501st figures. You saw in the video, the colors are very, very similar. Again, I know some of you had a concern about the colors being mismatched. They are only slightly different, so I don't think you'll really notice it at all on your display, especially from far back. I think they go really, really well together. Even having that Captain Rex with that kind of green hue on the armor, being that it's Captain Rex, he kind of has his own unique look anyway, especially with that kind of Phase 1 and 2 welded helmet that he has. He's kind of has his own unique look anyway, so I really don't think they look bad at all together. So I'm really excited, especially to get these new display cases built, because I'm going to have a big 501st display. I mean, guys, we're going to have ARC Trooper Jesse. I'm really just waiting on that ARC Trooper 5s and that ARC Trooper Echo. I really, really want those figures. So hopefully Hot Toys is listening to us. I know I'm not the only one. I know a lot of you guys, whether you're a big 501st fan or not, if you like the Clone Wars, a lot of us are hoping for those ARC Trooper figures. And as you guys know, those older ARC Trooper Sideshow figures are very expensive. So I would love to see a new update on those characters from Hot Toys. But that's really all I have to say about this figure, guys. It is a very basic figure, but I think it is done well and it is done properly. Again, I am very happy to see that they also fixed that helmet and made the helmet more accurate. A lot of us had that complaint when the initial prototype photos went up, and it's good to see from time to time that Hot Toys listens to us and makes those changes that they need to, especially for a figure that has no head sculpt. Your eyes are going to be drawn to that helmet, so I'm glad that they fixed that, and I think they did a great job. Overall, I think if you guys can get this figure for retail and or less than retail with all these deals going on, you're going to be very pleased, especially if you have existing 501st figures in your collection, like the 501st Standard, the 501st Deluxe, or even Captain Rex. I think you're going to be very pleased. And if you have Jesse on pre-order, you know they're all going to look great together. I can't wait. I can't wait also for those vehicles, guys. Having these all together with those vehicles, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be absolutely amazing. I know you guys are looking forward to it too. But thank you so much for watching this video, guys. And once again, thank you so much for the amazing support. You guys have been absolutely incredible lately, as always, on all of my videos, all of my content, and all the social media pages supporting us. I really do appreciate it. I apologize last week we weren't able to get a stream in. Of course, Thursday is our normal stream day, and that was Thanksgiving. I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving. I did, spending it with my family. I had a great time. But again, unfortunately, we weren't able to stream because that was a special day for all of us, so I had to put the stream off. We tried to get it done on the weekend, and everybody's schedules just weren't lining up, so I do apologize for that. However, of course, we are back to our regularly scheduled stream this week at 7 p.m. EST. We have a lot to talk about this week, a lot. A lot of figures have been released, a lot. So we're going to talk about all those figure releases. We're going to talk about some teases and some other things. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. So definitely be there if you can. We really would appreciate it. And we would love to talk with you guys and spend our lovely Thursday evening with you as always. But that's it, guys. I do have some other videos planned and partially recorded, so stay tuned. Also, guys, if you haven't already, check out some of my YouTube shorts. I've been putting up some shorts, kind of coming up with these silly ideas. I've been doing skits, small collection videos, unboxings, random things here and there. Most of the stuff on the channel is obviously 6 scale. Shorts, I may throw in some cool things here and there that I unbox on the shorts. That way I don't dedicate a whole video to it. So keep an eye out for that. I hope you guys enjoy them. I know some of it's a bit cringy, but hey, you got to be cringy every once in a while, you know. But that's all I got for you guys. Once again, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for supporting, and thank you so much for watching. If you guys have any questions or comments on the Captain Vaughn figure, definitely share it down below. Let me know what you guys think of that comparison of the colors. Again, I was looking at it behind the camera, so my opinion may be different from yours. You guys take a look and let me know what you think of that color difference in the comments below. But I hope you guys have a wonderful night or a wonderful day or a wonderful evening whenever you're watching this, and I will see you next time.